All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Oh, look, y'all talking back to me. Appreciate that. The time is 7:14 p.m. and we're going to call to order this city council meeting. And now that the quorum is present, so let me hit my gavel. Now let's begin. Invocation and pledge of allegiance. Everyone, please stand. All right, well, I don't think we had anybody, right? Oh, she's out. All right, I got you. And bow your heads, please. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for just keeping us warm during this cold time period. Continue to be with city staff, emergency personnel, and all others that as they go out to serve and protect during this war environment. Continue to help us with strategies and solutions to keep those that aren't warm warm. Bless this council meeting. Continue to give us wisdom and your understanding so that we can do the best thing for the community of Manor now and for the future. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may be seated. Proclamations. Declaring the month of February as Black History Month. Let's see. And it reads, whereas during the month of February, we honor and celebrate the extraordinary achievements and rich cultural heritage of Black Americans whose enduring contributions have profoundly shaped and enriched our nation's history. And whereas we recognize the endurance legacy of Black pioneers such as Frederick Douglass, Harry Tubman, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and many more, whose courage and resilience have paved the way for progress and equality. And whereas we recognize and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of Black individuals across all fields of endeavor, including science, medicine, literature, arts, music, sports, and public service. And whereas we acknowledge the ongoing pursuit of racial justice and equality and commit ourselves to the vital work of dismantling systematic racism, fostering inclusivity, and promoting equity in all aspects of society. Whereas Black History Month provides an invaluable opportunity for all Americans to reflect upon our shared history, learn from the experiences of the past, and collectively build a more just and equitable future for all. Now, therefore, I, Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor of the City of Manor, Texas, and on behalf of the Manor City Council hereby proclaim the month of February 2025 as Black History Month in the City of Manor, and I urge and encourage all citizens to celebrate the rich cultural heritage and significant contributions of Black Americans and participate in events and activities that honor the legacy and inspire future generations. In witness hereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Manor to be affixed this 19th day of February 2025. Dr. Christopher Harvey, Mayor, City of Manor, Texas. All right. Y'all clap. Awesome. Would y'all want to do a photo for this or no? Good. All right. Maybe. Okay. Well, come on. Let's do a photo real fast and we'll come back up.
Now we'll have to say who takes more so for the website. 1, 2, 3. Great.
All right. Now moving on to some events and announcements. We have Empower Manor, Central Texas Learning Festival, March 8, 2025 at Manor Senior High School from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Do we have a presentation? Who's going to?
Mayor, Council, I think we can just thank the school for allowing us to have this opportunity. We have several organizations and individuals in the community that want to attend this event. It's from March 5th through the 9th, but we decided on March the 8th, and the school has been gracious enough to allow us to reserve space for the event to take place up there. Mm-hmm. And we want to just make sure those that are interested in learning, have a skill, want to give back. I think the deadline is over, but we want people just to come out and see what is offered to our residents from local people of different professions. And it's a great opportunity just to build. And like you say, Empower Manor. It's a Central Texas learning opportunity, but we also have people that really want to give back. So we decided on this weekend to do this, and hope everyone can come out, and those that are available, we welcome you to just participate in the community at this level.
Thanks, sir. And just for some context, a little bit more context. So Empower Manor is the Manor version of Central Texas Learning Festival, which is hosted and held by Austin Community College. Mm-hmm. And it's, I think there's over 50 locations or 50 partners. They actually have a map on their website that kind of lists all the locations. So from, was it the 5th through the 9th?
Yes, sir.
During the 5th through the 9th, there's a map of all these locations throughout Central Texas area where you can go and take free classes from all sorts of topics. And anyone could go through the process of being able to offer these classes. And so the reason, the idea came from a guy by the name of Don Tracy, who spent some time in Ireland studying kind of some things that were one of the cities he was at that was making a great learning community there. And he and I talked about it and had a good interest in it. One, because this learning culture that took place in the city had a lot of indirect and direct correlations. One of was low crime. Other one was community members valuing and saying this is a great place to learn. There was a lot more neighborly because people was working together and learning together. And so the idea is we spent about a year or so planning within the committee and talking about this in the Community Collaborative Committee. And then we started attending the meetings. And so our hope is to try this out and then go from 9 to 1 to maybe a full day, to maybe a full week, to maybe a month, and then maybe to a culture where Manor is a learning community where we're partnering together, teaching together, being neighborly together. And, you know, someone who knows how, my daughter uses those, she crochets, she knows how to crochet clothes. And so maybe somebody else wants to know how to do that, but they don't know have anyone to teach them lessons. So on these days or during these time periods, that's when we would host these facilities, host these opportunities in these facilities so that people can learn those things. Anything from crocheting to complex algebra and mathematics to mechanic work to job readiness skills to foreign languages, whatever anyone in the community has a skill set or background in. I see my brother back there from health. So if you want to do health and nutrition, in regards to that, anything you can think of, this will be a space to come and contribute to the community, sharing your skills and your knowledge, and it's absolutely free. There's no cost, and it is just us pouring back into us. And so definitely want to thank city staff for supporting us on this endeavor, and looking forward for this first day, and then looking forward to many days to come. So thank you all for making sure that we got the day going. And then again, thank you to Manor ISD for always being a good partner with their facilities for the community. Any questions or comments from council? Okay, I think at some point in time we'll probably have the list. Is it on the website yet of the opportunities? Do we know?
It will be posted.
It will be posted. Okay,
yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, moving on. Presentations. Wilbarger Creek and the City of Manor. Would I guess please come on up and state your name, and you may begin.
My name is John Beal. I'm with the Wilbarger Creek Conservation Alliance. Josiah Wilbarger died of his wounds in 1845, 12 years after he'd been scalped by the Comanches. His namesake, Wilbarger Creek, is beautiful, wild and unspoiled, and right on the east side of downtown Manor. Native Americans used the bodark trees to make bows and arrows, and settlers made axe handles and plows. Beavers, wiped out 150 years ago, have returned. We need to treasure this special place as we build more houses, warehouses, and stores. We commend the mayor, the city council, and the staff on their professional handling of the difficult and challenging transformation of the city of Manor. We are going to ask for equal consideration to the effects of the city's actions and decisions on your downstream neighbors. Wilbarger Creek, about 65 miles long, starts up near Pflugerville and flows into the Colorado River a few miles north of Bastrop at the Wilbarger Bend of the Colorado River. The Wilbarger Creek watershed drains almost all of northeast Travis County. During heavy rains, a staggering amount of water comes down Wilbarger Creek through Manor. When it rains hard, you see what looks like a lake under the Highway 290 bridge. That's the floodplain of Wilbarger Creek doing what nature intended. Over 20 years, 2,000 contiguous acres have been preserved along Wilbarger Creek between Manor and Elgin. The local, state, and federal agencies involved in this effort include Travis County, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, NRCS, the Texas Land Conservancy, Pines and Prairies Land Trust, the Hill Country Conservancy, and the Wilbarger Creek Conservation Alliance. Protection for agriculture, wildlife, open space, wild places for wild things. We need this. In the not-so-distant future, this will become the Wilbarger Creek Greenway with a large regional park and public access, so everyone will be able to visit a beautiful natural park. Please help preserve and protect the wonderful, beautiful, and important Wilbarger Creek. And now I'd like to ask Miss Pamela Fowler to come up and take the second slide.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pamela Fowler Dickerson, and I am currently a member of the Wilbarger Creek Conservation Alliance. We need parks and open spaces. I live on the banks of Cottonwood Creek at Lydic Road. My family has lived there for 3 generations since 1939. My grandchildren, Cadet Johnique Thomas and Jayla Thomas, are 4th-generation farmers. Cadet Johnique Thomas graduated valedictorian last year from Manor Early College High School and is now attending the United States Air Force Academy. Jayla is currently a sophomore at Manor Early College High School, and along with many of her friends, all share a natural passion for all things nature and farming related. It's a blessing to know that today's youth still have a passion for natural beauty surrounding the community of Manor. We are in the Manor ETJ, and we are downstream from Manor's Cottonwood Creek wastewater treatment plant. Manor's transformation began with Shadow Glen and continues unabated with Home Depot, HEB, and Wild Horse. Many cities are faced with these daunting growth challenges. Congratulations, Mayor Harvey and the Manor City Council and your hardworking staff. We know that your agenda is packed with decisions about growth, development, new roads, water, and sewer projects. These are subjects that dominate your time and your attention. But please, don't forget about the natural places for our community to enjoy. We need equal emphasis on parks, open space, and nature. The Wilbarger Creek watershed is a stunning, beautiful, and natural treasure, and it sits right in downtown Manor. Would you consider this area to be a part of your downtown revitalization TIRZ district? It would be perfect for a trail connecting residents on both sides of Highway 290 and the retail centers along that corridor that could eventually connect to the Wilbarger Creek Greenway. I believe the residents of Manor would love to have and deserve natural resources such as the Greenway and a large regional park to share with their families, their friends, and their neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ann Brokenbrough, and I'm with the Wilbarger Creek Conservation Alliance. First, I want to thank you all for letting us present to you tonight and for all the hard work you do for Manor. I live on and run a working ranch just east of town in the Manor ETJ. The ranch is up on a ridge that drops down to Wilbarger Creek, and when you're out there, you feel like you're in the Wild West. You can still see bobcat and beaver, river otters, and mountain lions just 10 minutes from downtown Manor. When I bought the ranch in 2002, I could not afford a tractor, so I used to drive around looking for neighbors with tractors who could help me. That's how I met Pam's father, Lorenzo. It took 9 years before I had enough money to buy a tractor, so I learned a lot about farming and ranching from Mr. Fowler and all about the history of the area from Willie Fowler Martin, who was one of our founding board members. We all bonded over our love of this land. And that is why we've been fighting so hard for the past 20 years to try to save it, along with other neighbors and anyone else who will help us. This area, where 7 creeks converge, and you can see it on this map that is in front of my presentation, is still wild and beautiful. Most of it has been preserved with the help of many different people, local, state, and national organizations, including Travis County, who's been working with us to turn this area into a large regional park that will rival the 2,500-acre Reimers Ranch Park in western Travis County. We have preserved over 2,000 acres, and with your help, we can do more. One day, the citizens of Manor will be able to get on a trail in downtown Manor and hike or bike all along Wilbarger Creek all the way to a huge park near the county line. As Manor grows so rapidly, we need and deserve a large regional park out here on the east side. The good news is it will all be paid for by Travis County. The bad news is we all just got notices from TCEQ that the city of Manor is planning a huge wastewater treatment plant right in the middle of this park. But we're optimistic that we can all work together to find a more appropriate place for the wastewater treatment plant that is closer to 290 and the developments it will be servicing, and keep this area along Wilbarger Creek pristine for an enormous park that will benefit all the citizens of Manor. We would like to invite you out to the park, where you can stand high up on a ridge that overlooks Wilbarger Creek and see everything that has been preserved, where the citizens of Manor will also one day stand. And we feel confident that together we can come up with a solution that will be a win-win for the Manor community. Thank you for your time, and we would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Yeah, you can, and then or y'all can pause there in limbo and see if anyone has any questions for you all, and then if not, we'll move on. If no one has a question, we'll move on. Any questions, comments? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Maybe 1 minute left on our 10 minutes. We would like to come back on March the 5th to discuss some technical aspects.
I'll make sure staff was aware of that.
We'll coordinate that with Cindy.
Okay. Any questions, council member, for our guests? No? Well, I just want to thank you all for your time and all your effort in the community and with the park spaces and for the information. So, thank you very much. All right. We'll keep moving down the agenda to public comments. Let's see. Public comments on the white card. Comments will be taken from the audience on non-agenda related topics for a length of time not to exceed 3 minutes per person. And let's see, we have first up, Mr. West.
Howdy, everybody. Glad to be here tonight. Appreciate the opportunity. My name's Tom West. Dory West and I moved out to Hibbs Lane approximately. This is our 24th year out there. We voluntarily joined the Manor ETJ because we consider ourselves a part of Manor. Interestingly enough, I'm addressing the issue of the wastewater treatment facility. A few years ago, when I graduated from college as a mechanical engineer, my first job was designing wastewater treatment plants. I worked with a company. I did that for a number of years. So I'm somewhat familiar with the technical aspects of the report. I was glad to download your consultant's very thorough master plan and report on the wastewater plans for Manor. It's a sizable document nonetheless, for sure. And it's a credit to you guys that you saw the need to go out and find it or to get that information. And I too am concerned about the placement of this plant in the middle of this very unique 2,000 acres, soon to grow perhaps, of parkland and conservation land. I'm aware that wastewater treatment plants are large and imposing. They are noisy, and they have a fair amount of heavy traffic that comes and goes. But I think both this parkland and the planned wastewater treatment facility are important for Manor. They're really legacy projects. The kids of your great-grandchildren will be aware of these projects. The decisions and how they're aware of them, what they will be based on your decisions. This 2,000-acre tract, soon to perhaps be larger, is a real jewel for that posterity. The land will be of value not only to in and of itself, which deserves that, it will be a unique, really unique as far as I'm concerned, facility on the east side of Travis County. I don't believe there's anything quite as ambitious as this out there. It will be a value for Manor in that it will make Manor a valuable and attractive place to live. I think it will ensure a vibrant community as people enjoy these things and come out here to find them. The wastewater treatment plant, as I mentioned, is of great value. It's an essential element and component of the inevitable growth we are experiencing. So, in summation, I think there are other locations. I'm not presumptuous or enough to think that I figured it out or done an engineering survey, but based on my experience and what I think could easily be surveyed, there is other possibilities to find for this plant, and I think we could look at them together. I think your engineers could take a look at it, and I think it would be an important idea for you, an important decision that you guys make. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. Let's see. Next, we have Mr. David Laterna. There we go. All right.
Thank you for your time today. I appreciate you taking comments and getting feedback. I'm actually going to come up and actually provide a little bit of feedback on the wastewater treatment facility that's been previously discussed. My family, my wife and I grew up in Texas. We've been here our whole lives. My children will be seventh generation Texans. So I mean, they have their family roots go far back. I have property off Hibbs. My family and I have had property out there for 20 or so years, maybe a little more. And I think I'm in a unique position to give at least some color or some clarity to the decision. So as an industrial professional, I've directed and managed several of the largest industrial wastewater treatment facilities in Central Texas. So I know what it takes to operate, run them, how to maintain them, what the potential risks are that come with them. And looking at what we're proposing with what's going on with Wilbarger Creek right now, there's a number of wastewater treatment facilities that are looking to feed into that tributary. I've looked at some of the permits that have been filed with TCEQ. I think the one that is the most alarming to me right now today is there's one that's being discussed for proposed construction completion in 27 in Pflugerville. And its basis of design, its permit capacity is 15 million gallons a day discharge. Its day one discharge will be 6 million gallons a day, but its design capacity is 24 million gallons, which is a huge amount of effluent flow to put into the Wilbarger Creek tributary. And then coming behind it, we're going to be coupling on top of that an additional wastewater treatment facility downstream of that one, which further stresses that ecosystem in that tributary. And if you've been out there and you've seen what goes on out there, I have pictures of mountain lions on my game camera walking around. And there's a beautiful ecosystem out there that currently exists that a lot of these folks have put huge amounts of effort into protecting. And that's something that I really want to make sure that my family has something to come back and look at and remember, like this is the land that we grew up on. So I am a little biased to it, but I digress. So let me jump back and one of the things I think that we have is in industrial and wastewater treatment is there's a lot of emerging technologies that can be utilized on existing wastewater treatment facilities to not only expand their capacity, but to improve their reliability and improve their safety for the ecosystem and the public as a whole. Looking through TCEQ and knowing some of the history, over the past decade, there's been approximately 17 million gallons worth of untreated effluent that has just been documented through TCEQ, through flooding or through errant discharge or improper handling. And that's going to be a byproduct.
I'm sorry, you got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
Oh, is that time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thank you for your time, and I appreciate you hearing us. Though. Thank you for all the work that you guys do.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And I believe that's all of our public comments. All right. So we're going to move on to reports. And this is exciting. It's our first report from our 2025 TML Youth Summit team. And so I see you all sporting the nice light blue polos. So you're going to bring them up, Ms. Lopez? Okay. Make sure you say your name and there you go.
Hello, I am Cassius J. Williams, Vice Chair of the Manor Yak program. Our chair, Amira, is that Amira? Amira, she could not make it today, sadly. This is Cammie, our secretary, Jamima, our treasurer, and Karina, public relations. Did I say your name? Sorry. The TML Youth Summit. I just want to say it showed us a lot of leadership, and among the most important things I learned from the summit was the communication of it. Really helped us learn how to speak well to a whole bunch of people. Sorry, I'm just talking to their phone. Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you good?
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, the most I hate my voice. Apart from the communication of the summit, also highlighted empathy and leadership. A kind of understanding a leader would have towards others about their feelings and acknowledgement pride. Provides more ways to relate well and gain trust. Other important points learned. Diverse perspective, community insights, collective solutions. Understanding good leadership workshops. We did a whole bunch of different workshops with. I'll kind of be one honest. They're quite boring, but it really showed us how leaders operate together with different people, among other things. Developing leadership qualities, especially in youth. We got to communicate with other different people, other YAC programs. Was it the Colleen one? Colleen, Dallas presents as well. Skill building workshops on top of that. We applied our leadership skills. Like we did a game where we split off into different groups, came up with ideas, and we presented them. Forcing that one. In conclusion, this is a bit fast. Key leadership traits. Integrity, empathy, and communication was really part of them. Some of the takeaways for me were they're quite boring. Like I said before, they were just really, really boring. I'm just gonna say that. You can talk more.
I'm gonna read my report now. I'm Cami Wilton. I'm the secretary. The TML Summit in Beaumont, Texas was an unforgettable experience. I've never experienced anything like the YAC TML Summit before. During the summit, I learned about leadership skills, overcame my fears, and found inspiration for future YAC projects, all while meeting some amazing new people and making memories. The YAC TML Summit showed me that there is so much that goes into youth leadership skills. I learned developmental skills, how to communicate better with others, and most importantly, made memories that will never be forgotten. During the breakaway leadership and development class, I learned to take every opportunity that is given to you. Some key takeaways from the class that once you start, you have to commit, learn how to be a good follower before you become a good leader, define your path, and have a vision. And the inspirational session, planning and supporting your path. I learned that this is important to build a good support system, develop resilience to not give up no matter what, know that you can do anything you put your heart into, and most importantly, thank yourself for being who you are. All the breakthrough sessions that the TML Summit offered were truly eye-opening and introduced me to many new things. While at the TML Summit, I overcame some fears. I usually don't like volunteering and going up or speaking in front of new people, but I had the best team to encourage me through it. Miss Yolandra kept reassuring me that it was going to be okay, and I knew that she was clapping the loudest for me. The encouragement and support from my team made me realize that public speaking wasn't so bad. We heard several project ideas from other youth advisory committees that were very inspirational. Hearing what other groups had planned and seeing how they worked together was a great learning experience. We shared some of our future plans with the other yaks as well, and everyone was so supportive and kind. They gave us feedback, tips, and words of encouragement. I'm so incredibly grateful to have been part of the TML Youth Summit. We are so excited to use the skills and knowledge that we gained and apply them to our ideas for the Manor community. I truly believe that we will achieve wonderful things, especially with the ongoing support from our community council and community. We are so honored to be such a part of such an amazing community and can't wait to see what the future holds. Miss Yolandra could have not been a better role model to me, and it showed on this trip. Everywhere we went, Miss Yolandra made sure that we were safe, fed, and having fun. I felt so safe on this trip because of Miss Yolandra. As soon as I got homesick and missed my mom, I looked at Miss Yolandra and it felt like home. I knew that Miss Yolandra wouldn't let anything happen to us. I appreciate every opportunity the Manor Yak has given me so far. I am incredibly grateful to the Manor City Council, my fellow Yak commissioners, and most importantly, Miss Yolandra and Dr. Christopher Harvey for making it all possible. Thank you for supporting the youth.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Farina Chandio. I'm Public Relations with the Manor Youth Advisory Commission. My report is quite long, so I'll just summarize what I learned. At the TML Youth Summit, I was really hesitant at first to interact with the other commissions because as a teenager, it's very awkward meeting new people, but I was surprised because it was a very loving and very supportive environment, and we got to get to know a lot of new people. It was not awkward at all. I met these two girls from the city of Killeen, and they were so nice, and I was like really good friends with them by the end of it, and they took us under their wing kind of, and they showed us some ideas for what we can do with the city. One idea was that we go to the nursing home and we just spend time with the elderly, or we can do a youth activity day where we come together and we just do a bunch of fun activities with everybody, all the youth of Manor. But other than that, I think I learned a lot from this summit about leadership, because the way the other students the other youth, they took initiative like they were used to it. Even some of the newer commissions, they showed me that you have to take initiative. You can't be hesitant about anything or else nothing will get done. And by taking initiative, you can make a real change in the community. And I was really glad, and I'm really thankful that I got to be a part of such a nice community, and I got to learn a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jamima Tukab. I'm the secretary. So for my report, it's also kind of long, so I'm gonna summarize it. The Beaumont, Texas Yak Summit was a fun event filled with learning, networking, and unforgettable experiences. From the moment we arrived after a long road trip to the final goodbyes, each day was filled with activities that strengthened our leadership skills and connected us with other youth advisory councils from across Texas. At the summit, we had the opportunity to visit Lamar University alongside with the Yak Commission from DeSoto, Texas. The campus was very intriguing, and they had a bunch of different areas that you could visit. After the campus tour, we had the opportunity to meet and mingle with the Yak from DeSoto and another one, I don't remember the name. On the second day, the morning opened with welcoming speeches and an inspirational session discussing life and success. I attempted to take notes but struggled to keep up, so I opted to record parts of the speeches instead. The first breakout section was a podcast that kind of lacked engagement, which I feel could be improved next time, making it hard to stay focused. However, I still took away valuable insights about key aspects of life leading to success. At the end of the session, we had lunch, which was followed by a fun activity that connected us with YAC members from other cities. The second breakout section, which I found the most enjoyable, discussed personal goals, support systems, and strategies for achieving success, with one first-gen student story standing out to me. That evening, we had also attended a social event at the Jefferson Theater, where we had got to enjoy time and meet other youth members from across Texas, like Kylene and Dallas. The night concluded with presentations from various YACs. While the other YACs used slideshow, our group created a video that we were proud of. On the final day, before the youth participants engaged in a team building activity, each group created a short video recap of the summit, about basically what we did. I found that session was really fun interesting because it was like we got to meet like other people. They separated into groups, so we were able to communicate with other people we hadn't communicated with the other 2 days. And it was also a really good team building activity where you could put together different memories from other youth councils and bring them all together. Once the activity came to an end, we returned to our rooms to pack our final packing before embarking on the journey home, carrying not just our belongings but also great memories. The summit provided a great opportunity to develop leadership skills and build connections, making it an unforgettable experience. Thank you.
Thank you. So, before you all take a seat, I want to thank you for your commitment. And I know it was fairly quick turnaround from getting sworn in and then having to prepare to have meetings and then get out and go out of town and do this trip and do your first one, and where you still kind of learning what was all going on and transpiring. So kudos to you all for honoring your commitment and your word, which is very important as young people in your age, at your age. I would also say one of the things I remember when I first went to a conference as a youth was that there was things that were engaging and there was things that weren't so engaging. And I think part of this journey for you all, because the conference is for you all, is to take notes about those things and to think about when y'all are meeting, have y'all commission, okay, how could that have been delivered differently? Because there's always going to be a gap between the presenter and the audience. And so you all know and have clearly articulated the things that kept your attention, which was that I'm moving around, we're making the video, we're connecting with other youth. And so how can those presentations that had quality content be redesigned in that manner? That's part of you all's leadership role, is to say, okay, hey, this was good information, but let's see how we can have the conference do it in a different way. Or maybe you all as a project take on delivering the content in a different way and sign up to be a workshop down there. There's no limit into how you choose to lead in this situation. So thank you for being honest and transparent about your positives and the things that weren't so, up to your expectations and from that space, but take it as an opportunity to even lead in that space. You know what? We can do this better. Well, we will support you in getting there to do that better. Just something that I want to make sure that y'all understood in that. I didn't know that I could affect change sometimes when I was a younger person. And then I learned later on that, you know what, I can be part of the ones to make that better. So you can make it better. And I know that y'all will. Any other comments from council members or anything?
I wanted to ask the commissioners, based on your experiences, where do you see your vision for your committee and your commission service?
We definitely have some ideas in mind. We just want to beautify our amazing city, and we want to build everyone together. So we're going to take those steps to do that. We were even thinking of painting an art mural or doing a community garden and just some team building. So we're going to take those steps, and we're going to work together and take those things that we learned from the summit and just work all together. We took lots of notes, like this whole notebook. We designed it. It's filled with notes, and we're definitely going to be using it in our future projects. Thank you.
Thank you. I do like that book too. I'm a note taker, so I love when I see that.
I do want you to know that your community is extremely proud of you. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but the YAC program here in Maynard is the first in ever documented history. And you guys are part of that. So we are extremely proud, and we are looking forward to seeing what you guys can create from this. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mayor and Council, I just wanted to add, there is a survey that I will be forwarding, that's for Council, and it's part of the presentation as well, but I don't have all the results yet, so it's coming to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I just want to tell y'all that I appreciate, number one, your behavior on the trip, because y'all were well behaved, okay? And I want to congratulate you for getting up here and doing the public speaking. And I want to say that I was happy to experience a couple of the firsts for some of y'all with y'all.
Yeah, definitely. To echo what Mayor Pro Tem said, we're very proud of you guys. Me specifically, when you guys went up there in the theater to present in front of everybody, the presentation was different. It was awesome. And then Cammie, your little, mic drop correcting everybody on how to pronounce Maynard, not Manor. That was awesome. So super proud of you guys.
I think these kids deserve a standing ovation.
After me, you guys, I tried to represent y'all, and then y'all went with a whole different shirt, but that's cool. But I can tell from the first time when you guys came up to take your picture and you did your swearing in, just to now, the level of growth that you have. And so I'm usually a step back kind of person, but I'm very observant, and I see that with you all. Even taking the time to get to know everybody's name and what they do, just to represent everybody, that shows a lot of growth. So I'm excited to see what you guys will do in the future, and who created the PowerPoint. Did any of you guys? It's amazing. I like it. I just wanted to commend that too, just even to see where you guys are incorporating all your technology, all your ways, all your new generation type things. We want to see that. You guys are not our age, so we want to see how you've incorporated your great minds into this city. So now you deserve the standing ovation.
All right, we'll get you out of the lane of shame.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all again. All right, moving on to public hearings. Let's see, we have about 5 of them. All right, conduct a public hearing for annexation of 0.5601 of 1 acre of land, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, adjacent to and contiguous to the city limits. Mr. Burrell, come on up.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Michael Burrell, Interim Development Services Director for the City of Maynard. This item was presented at the last council meeting just to start the series of public hearings for the annexation process. Just to give you a refresher, it is a 30-foot wide strip on the west side of one of Zalam's property, just to the north of Awanic Materials, which is also annexing during the same time frame as this. It's just to make sure that that property is contiguous with our current city limits, which would be to the west at Lone Star Electric.
Questions, comments, council members?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 1.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion? Questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Number 2, conduct a public hearing for voluntary annexation of 23.809 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, adjacent and contiguous to the city limits. Yes, sir.
This is the property previously mentioned in the first public hearing. This is just to the south of that 30-foot strip. They're going concurrently so as to ensure that this property is contiguous. Wannick material is intended to go there with an industrial development.
Any questions or comments, council members?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 2.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Number 3, conduct a public hearing on a rezoning application for a lot on 0.9596 acres more or less and being located at 13100 Greenberry Drive, Manor, Texas, from SF2 single family standard to C1 light commercial. Yes, sir.
So this property is part of the Manor Commons Northeast commercial development that is currently in the process of going through platting and eventually permitting and development. It was intended to be rezoned a long time ago after annexation, but that never occurred, so this is just correcting that to bring the zoning into conformity with the adjacent property that is already zoned C1.
Okay. Questions, council members?
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 3.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion?
Were there any residents that were within that radius that had any comments about changing that to C1?
No, I did not receive any questions. And to provide some context per the plat, because I actually had to do a lot of digging to find this plat because this is part of the Greenberry subdivision, not Manor Commons Northeast, but in the plat it is contemplated as a commercial lot. So anyone who would have moved in would have been aware that it was commercial intended.
Any other questions, comments? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Conduct a public hearing rezoning the application for one lot on 51.30 acres more or less and being located at 14704 US Highway 290, Manor, Texas, single family 1, suburban and agriculture to C3 heavy commercial.
So, pardon me, this is a property just across the street from the Krantz property, if you are familiar. Their intent is to rezone it to C3 heavy commercial. A bit of extra context, about 40 acres of this lot is in floodplain. So the current contemplated plan would be to have RV park, and we are working through that and the stipulations of what would even be allowed there. There is certain limitations around code. And then it would be subdivided as a whole into 9 lots. On the southwestern portion is not in the floodplain, and those will be commercially used spaces. And I believe we have a representative of the developer here tonight, so they can speak to that if you have any questions as to who would be going there. I'm currently not aware of any proposed tenants, but they can answer those questions if you have them.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments, council members?
My question is, why does it have to, can they still function with it at C2?
I would say yes, but we don't know their tenants, and I don't know what exactly their plans are. The backup does provide previous conversations we've had, as well as P&Z's recommendation and staff recommendation. Realistically, I don't know who their tenants are, so I could not speak to that personally, though I believe if you would like them to speak on what their plans are, it may provide more context.
That would be good.
Good evening, council and mayor. My name is Justin Matting. I'm the applicant representing the developer working for LJA Engineering. As of right now, there are no, other than the RV uses, there are no prospective tenants. Under the C3 zoning, we went for that due to the broader range of uses.
To the broader uses, we're not expecting to put something in there, everything on the list. We have no interest in, a nightclub or adult entertainment or, a large industrial complex, anything that's an eyesore or a detriment to the community. But we would like the flexibility as we're developing to have the C3 so we can make the best use of the space as we move forward.
Answer your question.
Not exactly. If we were to not give you C3, could you function under the C2?
We could. And that would primarily be for the 10 acres that's actually out of the floodplain. What we can do in the floodplain is very limited, which is why we had the discussion with Michael of what we could possibly do with that space. And so far, the best use of that space would be RV park, which we think would be a great addition to the things that the city is hopeful to do right across the other side of 290.
Okay, are we talking RV park for short term or long term?
So the code requirement for RV parking within a floodplain is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's 180 days max.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I believe it's 180 days.
It mentions about having a amenity center there. What kind of amenities were you thinking of having in there?
Amenity center for the RV park would just simply be, some laundry facilities and maybe a little rec space. Nothing too extravagant. And I apologize, this is my first time on. My name is Steve Cupid, and I'm one of the developers of the property.
Thank you.
My apologies.
You good?
Is there a picture that shows which part is the floodplain?
I can point it out to you. Oh, there you go.
This portion is the floodplain. This area here in the corner is where the commercial is.
And then the RV park is in the first part you just mentioned?
Well,
that's there.
There are code stipulations, I believe, and I'll have to double check the code, can't have more than 10 acres of contiguous RV park before they break use. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head. I know they were written down.
You're correct, it is 10.
So it's closer to the old Kimba side than 290.
Well, it has frontage on 290 all the way back.
Sure. Yeah.
The floodplain.
Yes.
And the potential RV park.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get the council members in exhibit? Yes, they are. They're all the same.
it just seems like there'd be a lot of challenges with 41 acres out of your 51.3 acres of it is floodplain.
Say that again?
It just seems like you'd have a lot of challenges with 41 acres of your 51.3 being floodplain.
We do.
Thank you. And council, I want to point out to you all, in the earlier presentation we had, y'all listening? All right. In the earlier presentation we had on the Wilbarger Creek, what's going right through them is one of those is the cottonwood, and so basically you have a lot of focus and concern on preserving those green spaces that have that floodland space, and so
And in that exhibit I gave you, we are kind of showing that green space, and that's something we will discuss with the city about.
Yeah, so
Potentially
that's
dedicating for parkland or conservation. In that exhibit, there is lot 9 and 11 would be within the floodplain, and that's essentially where potentially the RV park might land.
yeah. So what that means is when you question about how big the concern about like how much space that is because of that floodplain that goes all the way through there, and so there's really not much they can do with that space except for try to figure out how to salvage what they can salvage around that for in the appropriate uses from there. So it just kind of, it's right there in the middle. That's why they have to build around it. On here, you're subdivided.
No, that is strictly conceptual.
Conceptual, okay.
That's as
Well,
of right
I
now
was-
the proposed plan.
Yeah, that
Once
was
we
just-
get through zoning and plating will be next.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying I wasn't trying. I wasn't asking. Going to ask you a question that was going to lock you into it. I was just going to ask in regards to, because you know that is zone. That's from our future land use map.
Mhm.
That's our big commercial,
It
one
is.
of our commercial areas. So I was just wondering if you all had had those conversations with economic development to kind of talk about what we're doing on your, I guess, east and west of you all in regard, and just what we're trying to bring to the area. If y'all had that conversation yet. In regards to that for your planning.
We did have a discussion with Michael. I don't remember the other gentleman.
Yeah. Have you talked? Yeah. There you go. That's okay. That's him.
We did have a discussion about it, and they do understand that we want to do what's best for that area. Of course, we need to earn a living as well, and we know that we can, especially after talking to these gentlemen, we can come up with what would work best for the community in that area, which is where we came up with the RV park idea, and potentially making a strip of guesstimate right now would be about 22 acres that we could actually make part of a public park, part of an extension of what he was talking about, possibly having the development that you were going to do across the road with hopefully a lake and all the other great things, extending the path under the freeway and across another 22 acres across this property, which also ties into another trail, I believe, that comes off of the subdivision. With regard to the 10 acres, which is the only true developable part of this whole parcel, that's where we would want to do things that are really needed in this area, which is it's not really called office warehouse, but it's the lower volume commercial type an HVAC place, electricians. What else would we put there for?
A gym,
Yeah, like
pickleball.
Right.
Okay.
Process of, so it wouldn't be heavy industrial. It wouldn't be anything high trafficked type businesses. It'd be something that needs a little bit more space, but not really a storefront type business.
Okay. Yeah, it's, well, I just, as long as y'all are communicating, so I know one of those big, in addition to it being, commercial, it was, there's a focus there in that area, on around sales tax generation. And so I just want to make sure y'all had that information.
Right.
Okay. Other questions, council members? If not, you know,
No
I'm
plans for a
motion.
gas station there.
No gas station. No. No gas station, no bars.
All right. I'll take a motion. Y'all still coming through? Okay.
I'm also available if there are any further questions for myself.
Oh, my one question is, did planning and zoning have the same information, all the same information that we had?
Yes, so when the Planning and Zoning Commission heard this, they were also more supportive of a C2 zoning designation purely because it has more uses allowed that are in line with our comprehensive plan and the future land use map. Something that Commissioner, sorry, I'm brain farting right now. Commissioner Stensland mentioned is that with C3 zoning, there are a lot of allowed uses by right that the city may or may not want on these lots, including a gas station, because typically with C2, you have to get a conditional use permit. With C3, you can just put one in there. It's worth keeping that in mind when making these decisions because, as they stated, they don't have any tenants in mind yet. And while there are a lot of great uses in C3, there also may be some that the council may not be palatable to. And with that zoning designation, they can do it regardless of how you feel after it's zoned.
And there were no residents that had any questions or concerns about it?
There were two that showed up to the meeting. Both had concerns about the traffic impact that a development of this size could have on the adjacent roadways, FM 1100 and Old Kimbrough. We did explain it. We spoke to them after the meeting because they spoke during public comments, but we explained to them that a traffic impact analysis is typically required to be done, and any improvements that need to be made to the roadway are required to be made if the impact analysis deems so. But there are also concerns about the drainage and where water would essentially go off site if there's a lot of fill added or the current layout of the floodplain is disturbed. That I can't really speak to until a drainage analysis is done or some sort of drainage plan is submitted, but it is something that has to be considered when developing on this land. And that's not to state there would be a problem. We just don't know what needs to be done until a plan is submitted.
All right. Other questions? No questions? Then I'll take a motion. Close the public hearing.
Mayor, Council, I make a motion that we close the public hearing on rezoning application for one lot on 51.3 acres, more or less, and being located at 14704 U.S. Highway 290, Manor, Texas, from single family, suburban, and agriculture to C3 heavy commercial.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Hill. Is there a second?
I second.
I heard the deep voice first. Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Conduct a public hearing on the rezoning application, 7 lots on 146.92 acres, more or less, being located. Second. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Again, all in favor of closing the public hearing? Yes, she said she didn't vote, so I'm doing it again. All in favor for closing the public hearing? All against closing the public hearing? 2, so passes 4-2. Okay. Okay. All right, conduct a public hearing on rezoning application for 7 lots on 146.92 acres, more or less, and being generally located abutting and to the north of Hill Lane, west of Greg Maynard Road, and east of the TX 130 toll, Maynard, Texas, from A agriculture to IN-2 heavy industrial. This is Maynard Downs. Any questions, council members, on this one? Any changes to anything from our last conversation regarding this?
No, sir. This is
All
the
right.
intended zoning while
Mm.
we're finalizing the annexation process.
Okay, council members, if there's no other questions, entertain the motion.
I'd like to make Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing on item number 5.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hill. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Everyone votes. All right, consent agenda. All of the following items on the consent agenda considered to be self-explanatory by council will be enacted with one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on items unless requested by mayor or council member, in which the items will be removed from consent agenda and considered separately. Number 6, consideration, discussion, possible action on approved city council minutes of February 5th, 2025, city council regular meeting. Consideration, discussion. Number 7, consideration, discussion on possible action on accepting January 2025 city council monthly reports. Number 8, consideration, discussion, possible action on accepting January 2025 departmental reports. Consideration, discussion, possible action on a 0.009 acre tract of land wastewater utility easement in the Greenberg Gates Survey, abstract 315 in Travis County, Texas. Number 10, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a resolution providing for approval, confirmation, and ratification of the letter agreement for litigation services. Council members, are any items that you would like to be pulled from the consent agenda? Or any thing you would like to highlight in any of the reports? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor Council, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as read.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. Regular agenda item number 11, consideration, discussion, and possible action on authorizing a letter of support for the Senior Access Federal Transit Administration grant submittal. Mr. Moore.
Mayor Council, the last council meeting, there was discussion about the letter and the support that we had asked Mrs. Sarita, she's here, Lacoste, with the Senior Access to come. She has a small presentation that she'd like to present, but also wanted to say the services that they provided our Maynard residents have been very beneficial, and I think the support letter needs to be submitted by February 27th, but wanted to make sure the council had some questions answered, but also give her an opportunity to make a presentation to you to express why the support is necessary to get this grant. And the funding is to provide rides to our not only Maynard residents, but the other residents in the other communities that utilize senior access. Ms. Sarita.
Well, thank you.
All right.
I also brought y'all a copy, and I appreciate you having me today. I brought 2 of our favorite clients, Mr. James and Miss Cheryl. They represent Maynard on our client council, and we got to go out to eat tonight and have a nice evening. So we're happy to come here together. But they're ones that actually use the service and probably can answer questions that you might have about how it's impacting them and stuff. Because I can tell you what I think, but I run the place, so it's different when you use the people that actually use the service and stuff.
Can you back up and just on a microphone, make sure you state who you are and what you do? Can you say who you are and what you do on the microphone?
For the record.
State who you are and what you do.
I'm
Yes,
sorry.
ma'am. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I am Sarita Lacoste, and I am the executive director of Senior Access. And I brought Mr. James Sulzer and Miss Cheryl Walden, and they are clients and part of my client council. And sorry if I'm.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Just let me know. So I just wanted to give y'all an update. I talked to a few of you, and it's nice to see you in person rather than Zoom or in your car driving. So I'm glad to see you guys in person. So I just want to give you an overview. June 27th, 2019, we had our first ribbon cutting here in Manor at the little park over here. We brought one of our vans and officially said we were going to start the next week. Mr. James, who is our godfather of our program, that's what I call him. He was evaluated in June of 2019, and he was our first client to use the service. I looked today before I came here, and he has done over 420 rides since he started. So he has used our service well, and he does that in his busy schedule while he's doing other things in the community. We had liftoff July 1st. These were our first clients that started in Manor, and they went to the Walmart in Manor. So that was our big, exciting day of starting in Manor. What happened in 2020 was COVID. When we started in 2019, we were just set up to do van services for Manor residents going to Walmart and HEB. But when COVID hit, we couldn't go to those places, so seniors had to stay home. So we started a senior buddy program, and we actually went shopping for the seniors and made sure that they got their groceries and needs met during COVID. After COVID, we decided that the Manor residents didn't really have a way to get to the doctors. And so we put them on our volunteer one-on-one schedule at that time. And we started those services back up in September of 2020. All our vans were retrofitted with plexiglass shields so that it kind of protects them from the flu, from COVID, or from whatever things that are coming on. And so we started services. Our fixed routes, we go to HEB, Walmart. Tomorrow is Target. So these guys are up late for their Target day, but they'll go to Target tomorrow. And when they go to Target, they not only get to go to Target, but they get to do the whole shopping center in there. So our van driver is kind of like a little shuttle bunny during that hour and a half, where they'll take them to the dollar store, to the eating places, to different stores that are in there, and they can go shopping on those days. We go to Target the third week of the month every week. The other days we go to Walmart. HEB is every week. We do one-on-one rides to the doctor's therapy, to the beauty shop. You know, and when you get older, doesn't mean you can't get your hair done and get your nails done, and we got to get people there. So we take them there also. Senior buddies are for those people that don't really can't ride our vans. They need more services, but they still need that help. So we have a one-on-one volunteer that goes out and is their special helper, and they'll go grocery shopping for them. Or we have one pair that they go dog walking. He has a little dog, and the volunteer walks his dog. So it's kind of their buddy system. Telephone reassurance. We call people that need a call just to check on them, make sure they're okay. And we do that weekly. We have a medical loan closet. So if any of y'all, no matter what age, hurt yourself, needs crutches, needs a wheelchair, needs walker, we keep those at our office. And when you need it, you just come and borrow it, and then you bring it back when you don't need it. With that. And then our fun thing is Grand Adults Day and Fun Friday. So Grand Adults Day is every other month, and Fun Friday is every other month. We had to cancel it this week. We had Grand Adults on this Friday, but it's supposed to rain and ice, and I just didn't want to chance it with the seniors getting out. So it's canceled this week. But next month, we're going to a restaurant. So the vans that they're on get to pick out what restaurant they want to go to each month, or every other month when we go there. And they've picked Luby's for this group, so we'll go to Luby's in March for them. We also do things like take them to the movies once in a while. We just did Spare Time in Pflugerville, which was fun. We took them there. They bowled. They played games. We actually lost somebody that we thought we lost, but she was playing a game. She was inside of a little car thing playing a game. And so after 30 minutes of searching for her, we found her to go home. So it was kind of funny. But we try to have the client council that James and Cheryl are on. They tell me what they want to do. So it's not what Sarita wants to do. It's what they want to do. And we meet quarterly and they give me ideas of what's going on in Manor, what's going on in their hometown. I have representatives from each of my service areas so that it's very equal and everybody gets a say in what they want to do. I put the statistics for every 2 years. I can't believe we had enough for 2 years tracked. But when we started in July 19th, 2019, we did 360 rides, 367 rides that first July through the end. So that was our start. And if you look at 2023, 2024, we've done 1,560 rides in the last 2 years. And this is just Manor. So the way our database works is we can set it up by city. And so we can get the statistics just for your area and stuff. So if you look, and when we started, we have 9 clients. That's what we started with. Now we have 31 in this area. And that's 31 active clients because we lose people after a while. You know, they either get too sick or they pass away or they move, their family moves them and stuff. Every January, we archive people that have moved and so we start fresh every year. So every January, we start with a fresh number at that time. How to become a client. I know Ms. Weir and Ms. Hall learned that, or Hill, is it? I'm sorry, missed your name. Y'all learned this at the client council, but you have to be over 60. You got to be over 60, and we did that age because we needed a breakdown. You have to live in our service area. The service area in Manor is the ETJ and the city of Manor, and y'all are crazy growth. Every time I come out here, there's a new road. So y'all are growing big time. You must be able to communicate. You can't have so much dementia that you don't know who you are or where you're going, because it's not safe for our volunteers and our staff to take somebody that has so much dementia that they don't know what they're doing. We don't take anybody in a wheelchair, but if somebody can transfer independently from the wheelchair to the car and there's a wheelchair on the other end, then we will take them in a wheelchair. Can't live in assisted living or a facility with care and meals provided. And all new clients have to get a home visit. And the home visits last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. We're going over how to use the service, what to do, and we're also taking your picture because we don't want to send anybody with a volunteer to go pick them up without them knowing what they're looking for and stuff. This is our map. Sorry, I couldn't get it to go good on the sideways like this, but this is who we serve. The brown is Manor, and we pretty much take Manor all the way to the Elgin line and also to the City of Austin line. So when you get into City of Austin, we still serve that area. Elgin is one of my partners, and they serve that area, but we work well together and stuff. And I just wanted to thank you guys for letting me come out. What I'm looking for the 5310 funds we get, hopefully the president doesn't cancel them. That's what, if y'all pray that it's not canceled. But right now it's not. And the 5310s are a federal grant that is very competitive. And that grant is a reimbursement. So they only pay us what we spend, and what we spend this money on for our program is lift tickets. And so we send our seniors in lift if we don't have a volunteer that will take them. We always try to get volunteers first, but sometimes we can't get them. So we spend the money. We don't charge the client. We watch them on the Lyft concierge program. It goes great most of the time. Lyft, sometimes we have some challenges because it's not people necessarily that speak English well or care about seniors. So we're watching them on the concierge program, and we can track the ride so we know if somebody goes rogue, we can call and figure out what's happening with them. Those rides have significantly gone up over the years. When we started doing these, we actually used taxis back in the day of taxis. We would probably run about $500 a month. Right now, we're running anywhere from $35,000 to $4,000 a month just on lifts for the whole area. So it is very expensive. We take the clients to the doctor. If they're in Manor, you can go up to Round Rock to go to the doctors, or you can go to Ben White area and anything in between that you can go to. And they are assured they have a ride there. We don't let them miss a doctor appointment because it's very important for them to get to the doctor appointments. So this 5310 money helps us a lot. They only pay us 80%, but still 80% is better than nothing with that. We also get the money for van maintenance, because if you ever had a fleet of vans, every month something breaks, no matter how safe you are with it. So you're getting tires or something with it. And so it helps pay for that maintenance. And so we get 80% of the maintenance back for that. And so I collect letters from all my cities just to say how important it is that we maintain these services for our seniors. And that's what I'm asking you guys here today. And if you have any questions about it, I'm here to answer.
Well, again, thank you for coming out, and then and I think one of our big tasks from last meeting was to try to get some questions to you, and I think from what I'm hearing is there was some questions so are asked and answered. So, council members, that are there any other questions that you all have, or for Mr. Rita?
I have one. Mr. James is one of our seniors that also does a grandparents program at the schools.
He loves that. Yeah.
Does he have a ride? Is it possible for him to get a ride to and from?
That is a hard one because it's at 7 a.m. in the morning that you have to be there, 7:30. That's early. If I could figure out a way to get the lift to work that early and get somebody here, I could probably say yes. But right now, they are not working with us. I've tried when the girl from grandparents called me, and we tried that for a whole 2 months to see if we could get them, and we could not get somebody to pick them up that early in the morning. And so at this point, no. If we can find a volunteer, I could definitely do that. I would love to do that because he's an easy, fun person to take, and people like to take him. So,
is he the only one, or is there more?
I think, are you the only one for Grandparents' Day? They don't live in your area necessarily, right? All over, yeah. Yeah, he's the only one that is our client that I know of right now that's doing it. The other ones, I don't. They might be, and I just haven't heard that they are not as vocal as him with that. Now, Cheryl is one of our clients. She doesn't do Grandparents' Day or grandparents, adopted grandparents, but she goes to doctor's appointments and stuff. We try to make the doctor's appointments, especially when they're going into the cities, between the hours of 10 and 2. And the reason is the traffic. And anytime you use a Lyft or a concierge program, they make a surcharge if you go during early times or during rush hour, and they add like $20 to $25 to the trip. And so we work with all our clients to try to get their appointments so that we can do it where it's affordable.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Not a question, but a comment. I just wanted to say I appreciated having the time to conversate with my concerns with you. So that was reassuring, and I got to understand a little bit more of the program. I saw in the picture that I was there for the ribbon cutting back when they did the ribbon cutting. I saw myself in the picture, so I remembered that. But over the years, of course, I haven't kept up with all that you've done and all the growth that you've had.
Yeah.
Did you miss all of it, or should okay? I said I appreciated having the conversation with you and getting some of my questions and concerns because they were important to me, and you were able to answer them. And we did find out where the break in the communication was with getting with you, so I appreciate that. and I was there for the original ribbon cutting and the picture, and that brought back that memory. I was glad to see your growth. I wasn't aware of how much you guys had grown with this in this amount of time. So, and I appreciate that your services are available, and look forward to working with you in the future.
Well, and I did want to tell you, I know Mr. Moore has my cell number, and you guys know how to get in touch with James. He's always everywhere. They can get me all the time. So if there's ever a time you can't get me, please ask. I can't answer if people don't ask. So just ask me. I'm very open. Sometimes I don't have the answer you want to hear, but I'll answer the best I can.
And your representative did come out and interview my husband yesterday, I understand. So he'll be set up when he's out of his wheelchair. So we'll get to see more of what you guys do. Thank
Well, I'm excited. Yeah, she told me he was very nice, and like she met your daughter or something. So yeah.
All right. Well, either more questions or entertain a motion.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Are your operating costs, are they divided by your service areas?
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm co-clearson, so my
It was my fault. Are your operating costs divided by your service area? All right.
No, we do it based on need. So, I mean, so are you asking if we give more rides different areas or something?
Because, I guess it would cost more to service some of the ones that have a heavier population, and then some that aren't, like Manor.
You know,
number 2.
it's changing over the time. I mean, there's East Austin used to be you could not get a taxi in East Austin in my early days and stuff. So it was really hard to get anybody to go out in that area. I think as we're growing east, I mean, Pflugerville's growing east. It's almost touching Elgin, touching y'all. I mean, it's just everything is moving out. The hardest part for us doing the service is getting people to figure out where they live, and because of the roads are so hard to find. And with the new developments that they're having, it's not always on Google Maps sometimes, and it makes it a challenge because our transportation coordinators are really trying to get them to be picked up at the right place, and they're going somewhere totally not there and stuff. But as far as service, we do it based on every client is allowed to have one medical ride per week unless they are getting chemo or they're getting some kind of cardiac rehab that they really need to be there a couple more days. Then we'll do 2 to 3 for them on those days. But if it's a medical appointment, we do it once a week for them. And not everybody does that. Our van drivers, the ones that go on our van, go probably less to the doctor than anybody else because they're socializing and they're being more active in their community. So, yeah. And I'm sorry, I apologize for I'm totally deaf. So that's if sometimes I can't hear.
Other questions or a motion?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that the City Council approve and authorize a letter of support to the Capital Metropolitan Planning Organization for the Senior Access Federal Transit Administration 5310 grant.
Have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Ann Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion? No questions to the motion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and y'all have a blessed night.
You too. All right. Moving right along to item number 12, consideration and discussion and possible action on allocating funds for the 2025 Manor Family Community 2025 Manor Family Community Fun Day 5K event. Come on up, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? It's good to see so many friendly, familiar faces. Mayor Harvey, Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager, City Council members, and Miss Yolanda Santana, who's not here, and the citizens of Manor. I am Derek White, Executive Director of Evolution of Health and the coordinator at the Manor Community Day 5K. Before I get started, I would like to say that I will be presenting at the Empower Manor on March 8th, and I will be addressing health and nutrition. Also, Mayor Harvey, I deeply respect your commitment to prioritizing health and wellness as part of your vision for Maynard's growth and the education of its citizens. And thank you for consistently involving me in these impactful initiatives. For the past 2 years, Evolution of Health has proudly hosted the Maynard Community Day and 5K, a fitness-focused event designed to engage all members of our community, with particular emphasis on encouraging low-income families to adopt healthier lifestyles. Last year, we were grateful for the city's support, which played a vital role in the event's success. This allowed us to include a Kids 1K, where kids were able to participate free of charge and earn finisher medals. This was an exciting moment for me, as one of my goals is to encourage our youth to live healthier. And it was obvious that the leaders of this city felt the same way, as many of you were at the event, at the finish line, handing out well-earned finisher medals to these young kids. We were also able to register 12 Maynard residents for the Travis County MAP program, which is free insurance. And 2 of them that I've spoken to personally had not heard of the program until this event. We're also able to get several people signed up for wellness services provided by our vendors and partners. So all in all, this event is definitely serving a great purpose. This year, I am reaching out to request the city's partnership once again as we plan to host the 2025 Maynard Community Day and 5K. The support I am requesting from the city of Maynard closely mirrors the assistance provided last year. This includes waiving fees for the use of city facilities and permits, promoting the event to Maynard residents through social media, coordinating street closures, providing police support, offering event planning assistance involving city staff, and covering a portion of the event expenses. My organization will cover a portion of event expenses as well, manage the event, make necessary improvements from last year, coordinate the volunteers, manage registrations, and promote via social media. The proposed date is Saturday, June 14th, and I would like to continue using Timmerman Park. So, thank you for allowing me to present, and any questions?
All right. Any questions, council members? Any questions?
I think one of the concerns last year was participants getting lost on the trail.
Yes, ma'am. That's one of the improvements that I'm making this year. To give a list I don't have in front of me of some of the improvements, will be better signage, the map route planning much better, signs along the route to make sure that people know the difference between the kids 1K route as well as the 5K. The biggest issue was communicating that clearly to the volunteers to make sure they knew which direction to point. So those are some of the changes that'll be made for this year from last year.
Okay, and
as I'm remembering, was there some issue with getting the paperwork turned in without different paperwork that was requested for the event afterwards? Am I remembering right, or am I thinking of another event?
No, ma'am. I believe we didn't have any issues with any paperwork following the event.
the paperwork with the total collection of fees and everything that was submitted, including donations?
I don't remember there being an issue with it. Myself and Ms. Santana communicated pretty clearly about what you guys were looking for, provided her screenshots and maybe login information to the access point. I don't remember if it was her or another group that I was working with.
That could be a question that Mr. Moore, y'all can answer. Y'all aware of any paperwork issues?
I don't recall. I think everything got worked out. I mean, once we got from year 1 to year 2, I mean, it got better. So I think even this year should be even smoother for you and your team.
I believe so.
Other questions?
My question is, and I don't know if this is for you or for us with the city, but coordinating with emergency services to have them on site, just in case anything happens, because it's June, it's really hot. That pavement, that heat and heat strokes and stuff like that is what I'm pretty worried about.
Yep, absolutely. That's another one of the improvements, and that responsibility falls on me. The first year, ESD came out there as volunteers, as obviously serving wearing two hats, where they were spraying the participants down with water, as well as being able to provide emergency services. I did reach out to them, but not to hire them, to ask if they would be present. They were okay with that, but an actual emergency came up. So this year, I will pay for the services to be there, as well as invite them out so that we don't run into that.
Sweet, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I think part of my question would be that if the city is providing the venue, the city is providing the road closures, the city is providing the staff, all of that costs money. How much of the actual event are we supposed to be covering?
The original proposal was for $5,000. The unforeseen costs were the staffing costs. So this time I would like to take on a larger portion of those fees. Last year, my organization covered $3,500 or $3,700 of the $10,000 that was spent. So I would like to move that close to 50-50.
Okay.
Is this motion just to allow the city to work, or the city administration to work with Mr. Derrick about this, and then it still comes back to us for any reason, or would it be able to start and end with the city, with working with the city administration?
Well, I think it's giving them direction. So my assumption that it comes back to us at another time about the amount, because there's not language for an amount here. So it will be saying, hey, yes, please work on something for next year with the company for another 5K, and then they will bring back the proposal. That's the idea. So that would be, I think, for those of y'all that have questions about the growth process, that would be a time to maybe pass that on to Mr. Moore, should you choose the one to have the event. So voting to give them direction to have the event or not, and then giving your feedback to him, so the city staff can negotiate that with Mr. White. Does that make sense? Oh. Really? Okay. So what I said was, Ms. Councilwoman here asked if this was voting on the event or voting to give direction. So we're just giving direction in regards to having an event or not. So the language is voting to recommendation that the city council direct the city staff on how to proceed with the event. So we vote with the recommendation. Then city staff works with Mr. White and his team to work out the details for the event, and they bring whatever back to us. That's my understanding of the language. That's what she was asking for. And so what I was saying then, based on that understanding, if we vote to give them direction to proceed for the 5K event, then you all that have questions or wonderings can send that to Mr. Moore directly, so he can negotiate all that and ask those questions and work out those details.
So this vote is just to support, it would support proceeding with the race?
Mm-hmm. And then all that other stuff comes back later. Amounts, details, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, is this something that we can have our health committee, meet with them, kind of like how we did last year, work out some details. That way, when it, does come back, if some more brings it back, we'll have more answers.
Yeah, because this time I would, as the health committee chairperson, I'd like to have more input. I felt like last year I got talked to about it, and then I didn't get to hear any. I didn't hear any more. Nothing else was run past our committee, or Aaron or myself. It just went through. Everything went through. Passed. Went through. Check. And we had the event, and we showed up there.
Mhm.
I
Well, and I don't think that was. I don't think that's Mr. White. I think that was. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't say who it was. I
Yeah.
just said I don't want that to happen again. I don't feel like that's fair to us as being on the health committee to approach us and then say, this is what we want you guys to work on. And then we say, sure. And we're all eager to do it. And then we're left out of the process.
Yeah. So that I think that's on the direction that we give to Mr. Moore, and his inclusion of committee and Mr. White on the program. So we would make sure we would give that direction to the city manager to make sure that they include you. Would that work? That's what you're.
It probably would work a lot better for me personally if we did it that way.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I have a question,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
White. How would you display your sponsors, your contributors, your partnerships?
This year, I will put all of the sponsors. The primary sponsors would be Evolution of Health, which is my organization, the City of Manor, primarily, and then with those two primarily. Anyone else, I would have to have a discussion with you guys as partners should you decide to move forward with it. If we're able to agree to this sooner than later, then I can get the signage to make sure that the lead times on the signage, as well as the shirts, to make sure the logos are displayed on the race bibs, the signage around the neighborhood, as well as the event shirts and the finisher medals.
Thank you.
So there was an issue last year, and I will take the responsibility for it. The shirts, there was a lead time on the shirts. A sponsor, things did not work out in a timely manner. So the shirts did not have the logo displayed as it should have last year. So they were very generic. Got what I could on the very front. That allowed us to have a lead time of 3 days rather than 4 weeks. So this year, being that we have the discussion sooner, then I can work with any sponsors ahead of time to make sure that I don't run into that issue like I did last year. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Other questions?
I think, Mr. White, if you give us some times, I can see when the committee can meet, and that way we can give a chance to have them meet here in March, and that way we can make sure from March until June we have everything mapped out. So if we come back to the council in April with the funding request, we can have the budget and everything worked out, so we're not waiting till May to make a request. We can try to get that worked out with the committee. If we can meet in March and April, and we can hopefully have a final decision by April council meeting.
Okay.
And I would say you probably want to definitely get your production time schedule, because it sounds like we need to make some decisions so that we don't wait too long and say, oh yes, we want this, and then we've missed some deadlines for all the packaging, all that other stuff. So so maybe if you all can look at y'all's schedule, health committee, and get some dates quickly to Mr. Moore, so then they can work that out, so that you can knock that part out early on. So it's not, so you don't have to fit, besides y'all doing whatever y'all doing, you don't have to come back to it.
Yes, sir.
I think right now the biggest thing for me, and of course I could talk to Mr. Moore, Landra, is to get the event approved so I can start promoting it and just start working on that. We can fill in everything else as we continue to meet.
Okay. Other questions? Being none, is there a motion?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that City Council direct the city administration on how to proceed with the 2025 Manor Community Day and 5K event, and also include the Health Committee in the planning.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Hill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? Questions to the motion? Before we call the vote, I just want to say to you, Ms. White, I appreciate the fact that you own, the challenges from the past. However, all of it's not on you. This is these are events that we've chosen to try to put together and do together for the city, and there's growing pains on both sides. And so I want to make sure I'm saying on record, it ain't all you. It's us working together to try to do something unique for our community and have our first 5Ks and, add community and family pieces in there and to add things for the youth. And so it's growing pains. And so, but I appreciate your leadership and ownership. Did you have something we need to fix on language? Come on up.
Veronica Rivera, Assistant City Attorney, Mayor, Council members, in the motion that was just made, if we can state instead of how to proceed, just proceeding with, because it seems that y'all are in agreement to proceed and have the city manager come back to y'all with a final project.
To proceed with it. So just the language stated. Since you're directing, he knows what to do. You want to amend that and then second that amendment?
Yes, Mayor Council, I would like to amend my motion to only include to proceed.
We have a motion on the floor that's been amended. There's a second.
Second.
Second. All right. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Looking forward to another great year. I got to start getting in shape again. All right. Number 13. First reading, consideration and discussion, possible action on the ordinance of City of Manor, Texas, annexing .5601 of 1 acre more of land, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits, to the corporate limits of the city, making findings of fact, providing a severability clause and effective date, and providing for open meetings and other matters. Yes, sir.
Mayor, Council, my name is Michael Burrell, Interim Development Services Director for the City of Manor. This is the Zalarum property that will make the Wannock property contiguous to the city limits.
Any additional questions? And entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, would like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Manor, Texas, annexing 0.5601 of 1 acre of land, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, and adjacent and contiguous to the city limits and to the corporate limits of the city, making findings of fact, providing a severability clause, and an effective date, and providing for open meetings and other related matters.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Moving right along to item number, where we at? 15? 14?
14.
Consideration for discussion, possible action on ordinance rezoning one lot on 0.9596 acres, more or less, being located at 13100 Greenberry Drive, Manor, Texas, from SF2.
That's item 15.
That's the wrong one. Oh, I clicked on 15 instead of 14. There we go. All right, back it up. Consideration, discussion, possible action on the ordinance of City of Manor, Texas, annexing 23.809 acres, more or less, and being located in Travis County, Texas, including the abutting streets, roadways, and right-of-ways, and incorporating into the city limits at the request of the property owner, approving agreement for the provisions of services for the annex area, making finding of fact and providing for a severability clause and an effective date, providing for an open meetings and other right matters. This is the Wannock property, everyone. Any questions, additional questions for that one? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, Council, would like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Manor, Texas, annexing 23.809 acres, more or less, being located in Travis County, Texas, including the abutting streets, roadways, and right-of-ways into the corporate limits of the city, at the request of the property owner, approving an agreement for the provision of services for the annexed area, making findings of fact, providing a severability clause and an effective date, and providing for and opening meetings and other related matters.
There's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Consideration, discussion, possible action on ordinance rezoning one lot on 0.9596 acres more or less and being located at 13100 Greenberry Drive, Maynard, Texas, from SF2 Single Family Standard to C1 Light Commercial. This is that portion of land next to Greensbury, Maynard Commons, the shoe shape property next to the shoe shape property. So, any additional questions, council members, related to that? If not, I entertain the motion.
Mayor, Council. Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance rezoning one lot on 0.9596 acres more or less and being located at 13100 Greenberry Drive, Maynard, Texas, from SF2 Single Family Standard to C1 Light Commercial.
Well, motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Hill. Any questions to the motion? No questions. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I know there's going to be some questions on this, so I'm gonna come back to 16, and then we'll push through because I don't want to make sure there's some more discussion time. I'm gonna jump down to number 17. Consideration, discussion, possible action on an ordinance rezoning several lots on 146.92 acres. More or less, and been located abutting to North Hill Lane, West Greg Maynard Road, and East Texas 130 toll from Ag to IN-2 Heavy Industrial. This is the Maynard Downs. Any questions to that one? Take a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first of an ordinance rezoning 7 lots on 146.92 acres, more or less, and being generally located abutting and to the north of Hill Lane, west of Greg Maynard Road, and east of Texas 130.
Motion for I'm sorry.
First reading of an ordinance rezoning 7 lots on 146.92 acres, more or less, and being generally located abutting and to the north of Hill Lane, west of Greg Maynard Road, and east of Texas 130 toll, Maynard, Texas, from agricultural to IN-2 heavy industrial.
We have a motion for by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Weir. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on a parking variance for Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. Number 18.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Mayor, Council, Michael Burrell, Interim Development Services Director for the City of Maynard. This is a parking variance request. Typically, items like these wouldn't come to council, but because we do not have another entity that can hear this, which would typically be the Board of Adjustments, it was brought to you for your consideration. Now, Randolph Brooks has, based on the site that they have with the site layout provided, a limit of 20 parking spaces max per our code limit. They anticipate 15 members, like people who come to their bank to do business, on top of the 12 employees that they typically have on staff at any given time during operating hours. This is based on their market studies and the needs that they've determined from said studies, so they're requesting 7 additional parking spaces over the 20 to allow for 27.
Any questions, council members? This is, it's not too different from Stonewater. Not Stonewater, what's the place? Stonehill. Location? Yeah, it's not too different from Stonehill. It's pretty much reflected upon that. Yes, ma'am?
Mayor, City Council members, I ask if we can go to executive session to discuss this further.
Okay. All right. All right. City Council, you mean now, or do you want me to come back to this? Okay. City Council will now convene to executive session, session referring to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code in accordance with authority contained in 551.704, 701. All right, there we go. We'll be right back, y'all. We're good? City Council will now reconvene into open session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. And we're back on item number 18, consideration, discussion, possible action on a parking variance for Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. And were there any questions, council members, to the information that was provided?
I would like to make a correction that this would not have gone to the Board of Adjustments. I misspoke.
Thanks, sir.
I think my only question would be, would the 7 extra parking spaces hinder any other business surrounding this one?
I want to say no. I don't remember the site plan layout exactly off the top of my head. I have the agenda open on my phone.
Yeah,
but-
come on up, sir. Introduce yourself and have at it.
Eric Etzler with Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union. I work in the construction and facilities department. And just to answer your question, no, all the parking spaces are allotted to our space. They're not shared or jumping over into another lot. We are in between the AutoZone and the Chevron off 290 eastbound.
So is the plan to connect the Chevron to the
Yes, sir.
AutoZone?
There's a shared drive that goes
Shared
across
drive.
the 3.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions? If there aren't any, I'll take a motion. Oh, go ahead, ma'am.
The additional spaces, is that closest to the Chevron side? So without that, is that just going to be concrete or landscape? Or is it additional 7 kind of mixed in? Like, it looks nice, but
So what was the question again?
where is that extra 7 located?
Well, I mean, I guess the extra 7 is just in addition to the amount that is allowed. So I don't know if there's an extra 7 which are dedicated as the extra 7. It's just that the quantity is higher than what the current allotment is. But currently we have
So y'all
spaces
didn't-
running down the westbound side of the site, and then next to the westbound side of the site, and then up on the north side as well.
So y'all didn't have a design, and then you changed the design to have more parking spots. You just had this design, and you're asking for
Yes,
for
sir.
the approval for this design.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
I do want to state, just for the record, this does not constitute site plan approval. This is just an
Yeah.
approval for the variance to parking.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve a parking variance for Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
Any questions to the motion? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Hammond. Is there any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes 5-1. Wait, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5-1. And last, before we jump back, consideration, discussion, and possible action on a development agreement allowing for a digital fuel sign at Platinum 973 gas station located at 13801 North FM 973 Main, Texas.
Mayor, Council, this is the typical development agreement for gas stations that want to have a digital fuel price sign. It essentially states that even with the additional lighting from the signage, they will stay in compliance with our outdoor lighting code. They're required to have this development agreement approved before they can put up said sign.
Okay, questions?
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a recommend that we approve the development agreement allowing for a digital fuel sign at the Palladium 973 gas station located on 13801 North FM 973 Maynard, Texas.
We have motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. There a second?
I second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem. I keep calling everybody Mayor Pro Tem. Second by Councilman Moreno. Any questions to the motion? Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. All right. I want to jump back to 17? No, 16. First reading, consideration, discussion, possible action on ordinance rezoning one lot on 51.30 acres more or less and being located at 14704 U.S. Highway 290 Maynard, Texas from SF1 single family suburban and A agriculture to C3 heavy commercial. All right. I didn't know if you all have more questions or needed more dialogue on this one based off of the public hearing. So I want to make sure we got through those other ones so you can take as much time as you need. And thank you all for y'all's patience. Questions, comments?
My comment is that I guess I'm with new information about the floodplain. It's not just being like a regular floodplain, but a part of longer stream, I guess. Concerned about that one, about that, and the potential of having the RV park placements in there, even if it is more temporary than permanent. But I do like the idea of having the commercial spaces and the other portions of it, but at a probably at more of a C2 level, but if not a C3 with more restrictions to it. That's all.
If I can provide some context for an RV park in either C2 or C3, the permission is conditional with specific use. So there are conditions they have to meet, and they also have to come before planning and zoning as well as the council for a specific use permit to allow for an RV park. So they'll have a more fleshed out design of what it would look like if and when the time comes where they apply for it. As for the other suggested uses where they mentioned a gym or pickleball or like electricians, like home repair services, things like that, there are zoning allowances in C2 that allow for that. Personal improvement services allows for a gym or a Zumba fit studio or things of that nature. And then there's another designation. I forget what it's called because I had to look it up. But it allows for like home repair, plumbing, electrical, things like that. That would be more for a personal use as opposed to a larger industrial building. I
My
don't know if that
concerns are
meets
the
the need
same
of what
as
you're looking for. You
yours.
can speak to that if you need to.
I was just commenting, my concerns are the exact same as Deja's.
Other questions for Mr. Burrell or for the developers and staff?
In the future plans, would there be access to go from Old Kimbrough to 290, or yeah?
This is zoning. I can't really speak to what the actual design layout would be, only the letter of intent that was provided. But to that point, there is a concept plan, which is one of the documents that's provided in your backup. It does not have a connection from Kimbrough to 290.
Is there a possibility for the concern that the residents had about the traffic and then also the runoff of the water? Is there, with you guys at your level or the engineers, would they be the ones to provide guidance to make sure that things like that, like there was a buffer space or there was something to make sure that traffic, if the TIA report comes back and it's allowable for the, not as is, it's not there for that, but if it's something that they would meet the minimum requirements of, would you guys put it out there, like make the suggestion of like, this could be better and better for the rest of the community, kind of be cohesive? Am I saying that right, you guys?
I get what you're trying to say.
Okay.
Basically saying, are they going to, at our level, would we be essentially ensuring that the development is not a detriment to the neighboring properties? For any project, regardless of what zoning that is being heard, when it comes to drainage, our priority is to make sure that you're not creating an unnecessary burden on other properties. Hence why typically we'll require some sort of detention or retention pond, or through Austin's Drainage Criteria Manual, which is the essential rule set that we follow. There are certain variances that allow for you not to have those options, but you have to prove through hard data that your flows are the same or less than pre-development, which is a difficult task to do. So when it comes to drainage, we're definitely on top of it. As for these roads in particular, they're not actually ours, but the entities responsible, be it Travis County or TxDOT, because they'll have access on 290, Kimbrough, and 1100 and Kimbrough. They will most likely be required to do a traffic impact analysis, and we can't approve them until they have that approval from those entities.
All right. Other questions?
Mayor, Council, I like. Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the first reading of an ordinance rezoning one lot on 51.30 acres, more or less, and being located at 14704 U.S. Highway 290, Manor, Texas, from SF1 single-family suburban and agricultural to a lesser zoning C2 medium commercial.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Wallace. Is there a second?
I second.
And a second. Y'all want to come up real fast? Just, I think earlier y'all mentioned that you could still do what you need to do with C3 or C2. C3 obviously had a little bit more cover with this proposal. Just wanted to hear from your thoughts on, is that's still the same thing?
Yes, we can make C2 work, certainly. C3 for us would have just allowed us more flexibility and a broader spectrum when designing and determining what we would like to do with this property. But C2 doesn't bury that on us. It leaves us plenty of options, and we appreciate you taking that into consideration to not just say absolutely no, but bring it to something acceptable. Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other questions that you all have for that? Everybody's good? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, if there's no other questions, I'll take it to a vote. All in favor? Oppose? One more time. All in favor? Oppose? All in favor? Okay. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
My last question was the lot 11 side commercial. Would that just be one commercial space? How the other ones had like a split of kind of how you would have it outlined?
I can answer that. He said don't pay attention to that. Yeah. I was about to start down that path earlier, and he said don't pay attention to the existing. That's not the schematics. So just kind of look at the pink, green, pink, and that's it. Yeah, because they'll once they with the zoning, they'll be able to come up with more stuff, and then would come back and go through that process, and there'll be a plan.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I said, yeah, it's zoning. This is very, very early. Things can change.
All right. My bad. I rushed through it. Any other questions? We're good? All right. So all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Consideration, discussion, and possible action on establishing legislative priorities for the city of Manor and recommending those priorities to the state legislators during TML Legislative Action Day. All right. So, council, we've put some things together before. I don't know, when was that? 2021 or 2022? 23? And no, it wasn't 23. No, when we put that first legislative agenda goal. It was? Good gracious. 2024 was hard. That seemed longer than that. All right. So we put this together. I thought it was 21, but all right. So 2023, our agenda went forward to legislation, and we're here up to re-up on the language and authorize us to get those priorities together and out on that day. Any questions or any comments, Mr. Moore, or any questions from council members?
I just know we have that day at the Capitol, and want to make sure if there's anything in particular we want to speak to any of our state Representative Cole or Senator Eckhart. Again, scheduling might be a little tight, but just want to make sure if there's any items that we wanted to get before them. We wanted to make sure you had an opportunity to give us that direction, and then we can do the letters and appointments. I think the mayor and I are scheduled to go, and I think Mr. Jones is going to go. So we might have to spread out to try to make sure we accomplish what we need on that day.
Questions, comments about the language? If not, take a motion on the floor.
Mayor, Council.
Mayor, Council. I think staff, we need direction on the priorities unless we're going with what TML already has to be able to present a resolution at the next meeting. And then that resolution will be taken to be presented at the TML mid-year, the pre-conference, the 1 year. Mayor, you're attending, Mr. Moore and Mr. Jones.
What's our timeline to do that?
Before more
So
for the council.
This language doesn't allow us to establish them and then go present separate from this meeting.
I think it was suggested for a resolution to be approved, just like we did it back in 22. The way we did it the first time, it was taken to TML, remember? And then to include those priorities for the legislation back in 23.
Yes.
And then, so now we don't have, that deadline has passed, but now you're able to advocate for the city without TML. So we're just trying to put something, a resolution for the city's priorities to include a legislative agenda for the city.
Well, and so I saw it as like we already created our list of legislative, and it's on our website, those legislative priorities. And so I just figured this was giving us permission to update those things. That one pager that we have, it would voting now will give us the opportunity to update that. In TML, they actually still have in the policy handbook. In the policy handbook, they still have our 2021 items because they weren't passed, and there wasn't a bill that was pushed through the legislature in 23. I keep saying 2021. Yeah, there wasn't a bill that was pushed together in 2023 that addressed our needs and concerns for the two things that we passed. However, at the last meeting, they voted to have those two things still in the book. So if you look at the full book of the TML policy thing, our actual resolutions that are the two things we wanted to address, ESD, sales tax, those things are still in the policy and I think they're listed as support or seek introduction and passage for that. So I don't think we need to change.
So you want to use the same and
in regards to the TML language, I think that's our biggest policy that still needs to go through. And then the other one, I was thinking the language would allow us to look at those legislative priorities on that PowerPoint or the one slide and see if we need to update or take off anything because we accomplished it. But then that would be adjusted, and that will be what we go and share and speak on again.
Yes, sir, and that is why we were asking if those are the priorities. If they're not, it's the one pager that y'all had in 2023. If that's what you're going to work off of, we just need to have. We can draft the resolution, and then if y'all want to have that discussion the day of, then just direct us to insert the new exhibit with your priorities.
So we need to do, okay.
What we're trying to do is on March the 5th is bring back a resolution with your priorities so that
Mhm.
then in turn you can be prepared on the 19th to go with at the legislative action day with that one sheeter to provide to any of the visits. And then also you can discuss, the other TML priorities if you'd like, which are what's in your backup right now.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, right? Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
But that was the direction. We didn't know because I was like, where's the priorities? Were there new priorities? So
Okay.
if that's the direction, if that's what city council is agreeing to for us to work off of the one pager, then we'll just insert that one pager, but then y'all can discuss. And
Yeah, it's the
tell
one
us.
pager and those two that we already did. Because I think when we first started, we did our. Matter of fact, I think our resolution was off the two that's in TML, and the one pager was supplemental to all the other things that was basically from the direction, the vision, and goals that we were doing, state of city address and stuff like that. So that was more of a comprehensive of the things that we had identified as priorities that we wanted legislators to know as they were doing their work. So that wasn't I don't think that was in the resolution. I think the resolution was centered around.
Well, I think the resolution,
TML.
it was, I remember the bullet points. I'm trying to pull it up here, but it was the priorities from the 2023. I think the one sheet you're talking about, Mr. Jones had created, it was actually the same information that was on the resolution from what I recall. I can't, I'm trying to,
Right. It did include
It did.
the two items from that got approved at the TML annual conference, I believe. So it did include that, but it's my understanding you also had some additional priorities there as well on that one pager. In any case, we will draft. What I'm hearing is we will draft the resolution and provide you that backup, and then we can discuss what the motion is that day, or we'll put it in the summary form as well.
I have the resolution of you. Let me see, find it real quick.
Yeah.
So this is
That's our stated.
yes. And then we have
But that
the,
wasn't the agenda, the resolution. I think the resolution only had like 2 or 3 things.
the resolution, I can pull it up real quick.
Can you make that bigger
Uh,
at the top? There you go. One more.
screen.
There we go.
Do I need to scroll down?
Yes. Or up. Those are the bullets.
Yeah, that was about the ESD. Yeah. Yeah.
So we would have the bullets. We would have bullets, and then staff can.
Yeah, and I don't think we did affordable housing. Trying to remember what we proposed. When I went down there to the, we took that in there. We had ESD, and we did talk about affordable housing or supportive funds, but I think that language, I think they only had, they only agreed to support anything. There was a lot of questions from them, so I'm not even sure that that's even in this current policy about affordability in the current TML policy. It's in our legislative agenda, but the resolution that we sent, I don't think that even got put into the actual policy book. Have y'all seen the policy book? I guess y'all don't even know what I'm talking about. There's a policy book that they've already created for this legislative session, and it's pretty thick. When I went to the recent policy thing this year, it has everything that they've already done and agreed to be taken to the legislative session for right now. So our actual 2 things that we did last time are in there. The affordable housing, there's something in there about affordability, And then what happened was that they just merged language from what I presented from Maynard and some other stuff, and then that is in there. But none of this stuff right here is actually in the policy from us. This was just our speaking points. So I like this because it highlights what we're saying, and it's a graphic, and people like the colors, they like the simplicity of it, and it's a good thing to hand out to people when we're talking about what Maine is a stand for and what we're advocating for. The other thing is already in the TML things. So the resolution can either be, the resolution I thought was needed more so about trying to add into the TML policy book. Since our needs are already there, then if we do a resolution, it needs to be more so about that or no resolution at all. Okay.
Because I'll say one of the things that we wanted to shoot for back in 23 was really with the Water Development Board and the funding that the voters voted on about setting aside funding for these big regional projects. So as we talked about before, anything regional, anything that's going to allow Maynard to be at the table with, hey, we can be part of this regional solution, but we just got to make sure we have support from our council to make sure our priorities are still not just for Maynard, but it's more like a regional approach.
Questions? Okay, we take a motion.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to make a motion that we establish legislative priorities for the city of Maynard and authorize the mayor to present those priorities to the state legislators during the TML Legislative Action Day on March 19th, 2025.
Have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Weir. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any question to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. City Council will now convene into executive session pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 Texas Government Code. Time is 11:16. City Council will now convene to open session pursuant to the provisions Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, take action, if any, on items discussed during closed executive session. All right. Oh, the items are above it. 21, consideration, discussion, and possible action on funding an assistant development service director position on the City of Manor pay scale.
I'm sorry. This recommendation is to reinstate the funding for the Assistant Development Services Director position, which was established approximately 15 years ago. The position has been unfunded for the past several budget cycles and has remained on the list of authorized City of Manor positions. In reviewing the departmental needs, city staff has identified a growing demand for a senior level management in the Development Services Department. This is to do the increasing development in both residential and commercial areas. Funding this position will help ensure the quality and productivity expected for the City of Manor.
Any questions or comments, council members? Is there a motion on the floor?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the funding for the Assistant Development Services Director position on the City of Manor pay scale.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Number 22, consideration, discussion, possible action on adding the communications and marketing coordinator position to the City of Manor pay scale. Council members, any questions? Then I entertain the motion.
So this one I would like to add consideration, discussion, and possible action, but also adding approve with the provisions discussed in executive session.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez. Any questions?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the position of Marketing Communication Coordinator with the provisions discussed in executive session.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Number 23, consideration, discussion, possible action on the resolution authorizing the purchase of the purchase and closing of a tract of real property consisting of 0.132 acres more or less located in Travis County, Texas, plus closing costs, title, insurance costs, providing for approval of the purchase and sale agreement and amendment to the agreement by providing for related matters. Is there a motion on the floor?
Mayor and Council, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution number 2025-08, authorizing the purchase and closing of a tract of real property consisting of 0.1320 acres, more or less, located in Travis County, Texas, plus closing costs, title insurance costs, providing for approval of the purchase and sales agreement, and an amendment to the agreement and providing for related matters in an amount not to exceed $238,200.
We have a motion on the floor by Councilman Moreno. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Councilwoman Wallace. Any questions to the motion? Being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Time is 11:21 p.m. This meeting is now adjourned.